Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's Get in Tune. I'm Michael Grassi, and I have a wonderful show planned for tonight. And I just noticed my camera slightly off. Let me just do an adjustment if I can. Probably not. All right. There we go. I don't need all the extras up there today. But whoops, sorry, my phone just went off. Anyway, so here's the thing. Like I said, great show planned. These guys are returning guests. I really enjoyed chatting with them. But before we bring them on, say hello to Dylan in the audience there. Thank you for tuning in. And also, don't forget, where is it? It is Wiz Wednesday. And the Wiz comic came out this morning, between 8 and 9 a.m. Eastern. I think it's a fun one this week, so check it out on Instagram or Facebook after the show or in another window because you want to hang around. So let's bring on the guys from Wayward Raven Media, Mark and Alex. How you guys doing?
Hey.
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. How about you guys?
Yeah. It's been a long week. I think. Cheers.
Right. I'm on water, guys. So there you go.
I think my lately things have been like my Wednesdays are becoming Fridays but then I still have to work until Fridays.
Yeah, they're getting long days now.
Yeah.
All I do is feel like I sit in front of a computer nonstop, whether I'm drawing or doing my day job or whatever.
Exactly. I remember having this conversation with a lot of people. I would always draw because I would always look at a screen all day long. But now since I draw digitally, it's like screen to screen to screen. And for me, it's like a treasured moment whenever I get to draw on paper.
Yeah. I try to force myself every day to do some sketches on paper, whether it's a wake up or, a warm up or a before bed kind of cool down.
Yeah.
Just I keep a sketching pad next to my bed and just kind of try to do it and relax and try to also. It's also for me, I think, a great way to end the day and get all the stress of the day out because I'm not thinking about my comics. I'm not thinking about art really. I'm just sketching. And if a new character comes or I draw a background or you know what I mean, like something, it's just me and the pencil and paper for 15 minutes, a half hour, whatever it is.
It is really relaxing. A few times I like to go to the park nearby with I have a little travel watercolor set that I'm like, I'll just go and just draw the skyline or, I don't get to do it as often as I'd like, but
yeah,
painting.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, relaxing.
I find it's an unpopular opinion nowadays because I think so many people like to read digitally, but I genuinely enjoy picking up an actual paper book and reading with that. And it's great because I do spend so much time on I'm sitting between two screens right now. You know what I mean? Like you're always on them.
I noticed too, like I was going to comment on the book I saw you with this weekend. When like you're reading, I was like, oh shit, Terry Pratchett. Cool.
Oh yeah. I picked them back up again. It's been years and I'm like, I should reread some of this. And I know there's some of it I didn't read. And
I don't know if you can see it. I have like a small collection up there of his books. And then I have a bunch in my living room library just on display. Like he's definitely one of my favorite authors. So
it's funny. I actually for a long time had trouble reading fiction. Still kind of do a little bit because I spend so much time in fantasy worlds, drawing comics and writing stories and stuff. That when I read, I really wanted to read biographies or maybe just history books, mythology, something along those lines. Even though mythology, obviously is fiction, it's just. It kind of has a base in history a bit, so I kind of like look at it from that point of view, and say, okay, so I can like read those. But I've been wanting to get more and more into getting back to reading fiction because I haven't read fiction in decades.
Highly recommend Terry Pratchett then.
Oh yeah, no. I'm familiar. I'm familiar with the work. I've never read it. And what I was looking is I've been looking at stuff, but I've been so busy between a day job, between writing and drawing that I think I need audiobooks right now. So a couple of weeks ago, I actually went to the library and got a library card so I could use one of their apps to get audiobooks. So, I mean, maybe I'll see if they have Terry Pratchett on there. And
I think if I was commuting, I could get back into something like that. Like that was always a great thing. If I knew I was sitting in traffic for an hour, like fine, whatever, this is perfect. You know,
Yeah.
the same reason I might have listened to Howard Stern at one point or whatever, because it's just like kind of something to listen to. It keeps your brain off of just a constant stop, start, you know?
Yeah.
Audiobooks just never did it. Like I listen to podcasts a lot. The few times I listen to audiobooks, I find myself needing something to look at and play with my hands.
Yeah.
But going back to Terry Pratchett, the Good Omens audiobook was amazing. That one is really good. And a lot of Max Brooks's audiobooks. Like he did this, it was a Minecraft story that he did, and it was narrated by Jack Black. That was awesome.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. You'll have to send me like a list of these, you know, off
totally.
the air, and I'll check them out, because I definitely need something. TV, just if I watch TV while I work, I sidetrack and I don't get work done.
Yeah.
So I need something, and it's also nice to have something different than the normal noise around the house, you know. But anyway, let's get into this here. Let's get into. So before we start talking about, you know, what you're here really for, to pitch your new anthology and talk about that, why don't we tell people, to give them a reminder, if, you know, who you are, if they've seen you before, if they've never seen you, tell us about yourselves. You guys can go in whichever order you'd like, and what you guys do. Go for it.
Cool. Awesome. Well, we are both co-founders and creators at Wayward Raven. I think it's funny, by the way, the graphic that you're using. I realize I'm wearing the same T-shirt. It's like I'm sorry,
different shirt,
right? Like like all right, maybe I could have worn a different one, but whatever. But yeah, no, we started Wayward Raven over a decade ago at New York Comic Con, and you know, I'm an author. Alex is you know, a fellow creator. I think, you know, he'd probably give you. Well, I'll let him describe how he sees himself, but yeah, you know, I've been writing for years now, and we got into comics. It's an interesting story how Alex and I met and kind of launched the whole company at New York Comic Con 2012. So,
Nice.
Yeah.
Your turn,
Mark
Alex.
needs to admit it, but I'm the guy who does all the things he doesn't want to do.
You know, it's funny. I feel like I feel the same way, just vice versa, right?
Yeah, it's hilarious. Like a lot of times we get to the point where we realize we're just arguing about the same thing. We've been doing this for too long. But I do a lot of I'm an illustrator, but also with some aspirations of writing. And I do a lot of the creative digital asset stuff for Wayward Raven as well. I'm the guy who puts together the books and maintains the website. And Mark and I, we've been collaborating not just for Wayward Raven, but we've been doing a comic strip together for, like, you know, so that's kind of how we started this thing. Yeah. As Mark said, we started Wayward Raven about 10 years ago. Before that, Mark and our third partner, Josh, they were doing their own comics as well under a different brand. But then when I got involved through our day job, we started riffing on things, just coincidentally realized we were both going to be at NYCC that year. Him tabling, me just attending. And then, you know, I was like, okay, you know, I'll swing by, help you out. I'll be there for the whole week, you know, back when you could actually get a week pass, you know, for on the cheap. Remember when you used to be able to go to a comic store to get tickets at NYCC?
I remember those days. I never used them, but I do. I mean, I did the show the first, I want to say, 5 years.
Yeah.
That they came out. So I was paying for table space.
Oh, nice. I was just attending for pretty much I think the year after the first show is when I first started going to NYCC as an attendee. And then, like, you know, for me, it was like the side quest is like that. I always wanted to be an artist, but I never thought I was good enough until I started going to NYCC and seeing the indie scene. I was like, oh, I can draw as good as a lot of these people, better or worse, whatever, but kind of comparable. And I was like, you mean I could have been just doing this myself this whole time? So, like, I had tried some webcomics, didn't really work out, but then I meet Mark, and as we're riffing on our lunch breaks, you know, that eventually became Down Heroes. So we started NYCC. Like, he had 2 floppies of 2 different titles, and we together had done 10 individual sheets of our comic strip before we even had a book.
Hmm.
And I think, what was it like? Was it that year or the year after where we tried to hustle to like a Staples to print out an activity book for
Oh
him?
yeah. We had it. We did. We had an activity book that year. It was probably 10 or 12 strips. It was the activity book and 2 floppies.
Yeah.
And
Because we didn't have enough content for a book.
No.
For
Yeah.
Damn Heroes, yeah.
Somehow we made the table back too, which was kind of impressive.
It was a hustle. That's what it was. Like,
Well, it was purely hustle. Yeah, I won't name names, but one of the more seasoned creators next to us at one point said, he looks at me and he goes, "When are you going to learn that not everybody's a sale?" And I looked at him and I'm like, "Dude, everybody's a sale. I may not always have what you're looking for, but everybody's here to buy. Everybody's here to participate. You know, otherwise I'd stay at home. What's the point of having a ticket?"
and even if they don't buy, they remember us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
sometimes for bad reasons.
That's okay. I'll take it away.
We're always memorable, damn it.
Yeah, but fast forward now. Damn Heroes is volume 4.
Nice.
Gonna probably do it as an omnibus soon. You know, we have several trades and a first anthology, and working on a second one.
Hold on, let me give you the. Oh, hold on, Mark. Who? I'll give one of you the screen. Mark, here we go. I'm on your button there. So we suck at comics.
Yeah, I got the hardcover.
Okay. You want to show off the hardcover, Alex?
Oh yeah. Show up the hardcover.
Nice and shiny.
Nice.
The
Yeah,
thick one,
so
too.
that's We Suck at Comics. That was your. Oops, sorry.
Oh yeah. Yeah, some of the pages. I show some of the pages inside. I mean, yeah, Jeff's story is awesome. Ryan's story, the front's fantastic. Oh, I know that guy. Hey, look, I do have a different shirt. It proves it by the graphic in the book.
So yeah, we're going to talk about your anthology in a little bit, but that was a. I saw that. When did you do that? Last year, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it finished up. It wrapped right at the end of last year, and it shipped a couple months ago. So
Nice.
yeah,
And because I'll be honest, I'm going to ask you guys some questions because I've had thoughts about running my own anthology, and I'm not going to try to get all your secrets on the air here, but due to scheduling reasons, I never got around to running it. I had a lot of other stuff going on that was a bit more important than running an anthology. And I know you guys are technically 3 people running Wayward Raven here. And how do you guys find the time with a day job and all the other stuff that you do to run an anthology?
it's a secret spell. I think we actually multiply the hours in the day somehow, right?
Time dilation.
I could just imagine the amount of work, organization, prep, everything that goes into it, even before you get people saying, "Hey, how do I become part of your anthology?" Just all that work. So, and now you're on volume 2, so it's probably a little easier because you're already done it the first time. But what did you find? Actually, what made you want to put out an anthology?
So we're big into supporting the community, right? I mean, we've been doing this for a while, right? Prior to this, we've had 3 or 4 successful Kickstarters. So like we kind of had this idea that we'd like to do something that involves our friends. We'd like to do something that kind of helps others. This anthology has everything from folks who've never published something before, clear on through to folks that, have been around probably as long as we have and doing it. So like, it's just really all about kind of coming together, supporting the community, and then kind of, what's the saying? A high tide raises all boats, right?
Yeah, I think we individually have been tapped for other potential anthologies as we were doing this. Like, we were all like, "Hey, we should do an anthology." This way, it's like all bunch of us working together, and for various different reasons, some of those projects kind of like went sideways.
Yeah.
So we finally were like, well, why don't we just do it? We were like, I think one of our secret recipes were probably very OCD and high functioning workaholics. So it's like, for us, it was like, okay, we can put together our own books. As long as we can get content from other people, we can probably steer this project either into ruin or success. Either way, it would be a fun story.
A little from column A, a little from column B.
Yeah, basically, yeah. I mean, this was by no means an easy undertaking. And one of the advantages we had with this anthology is we were asking for finished stories, not like in other anthologies. It's like, okay, give me your pitch, and then you work on it, and then we wait for everyone. We frankly did have some people who were trying to do new content for this, but for the most part, it was all finished work. So that gave us a lot of an advantage in that, we didn't have to wait for everybody to finish. Maybe a couple people. I would even say the biggest roadblock we had with this was just dealing with some of the intricacies of publishing, of printing specifically, because of how beefy this book was. So,
yeah. 288 pages.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is huge.
Yeah.
In hindsight, it should have been 2 separate books. But live and you learn.
And with all that that you had to, this is the question I wanted to ask. Sorry, I'll get to the one I was just about to in a moment. When you had all the artwork submitted, how did you know what to choose, what not choose? Were you going for a specific theme, or was it up for grabs and just give me we need an 8-page story, whatever? How did you choose what stories that were sent to you went in?
We were pretty loose with the fit. We wanted something that followed the theme of rejection, right? So some of the big cutoffs really were: is it finished? Does it kind of meet certain guidelines? We don't want anything political, right? We don't want anything that's going to go out of its way to offend people, things like that. Again, it's about building the community, not tearing it down. So those were some of the big things, quite frankly.
Yeah, and I think with this one too, we didn't really turn people away. The irony would have been we're being rejected from by anthology.
Rejection.
For us, I think what we really pulled, the only projects we were like, okay, this is not going to make it, is because they just weren't done. We had a few people submit things that were incomplete, but that was part of the reason why they were in the anthology. I think one person specifically is they did the pencils and the project died, but we liked the pencils, so we used it. And for a few people who I won't name names, it's, they were like, hey, I'm mostly done, but I need to polish off a few things. Cool. We'll wait for you to catch up. And it's actually one of those things. It was somebody who was their first time doing anything with comics. So for me, I found myself coaching them. And this is how you put it together. And they were just struggling. They had done it in pencils, but I was like, maybe you throw some color in there. So I was even coaching them on some time-saving ideas to make something that artistically works, but also has a limited palette and would make it in time, So that was part of that giving back to the community, in this sense of coaching.
Yeah. And now you come up with We Suck at Comics, the Anthology, Volume 2. Now, this is a comic. Now, I'm just looking. When I look down, you guys, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I use my Cintiq as a monitor so I can see close up. I have you guys on another one far, far away here.
That's best kept far, far away. Yeah. That's far.
Now, because I think I skimmed the We Suck at Comics at Contropolis last time I saw you guys. Yeah. So I don't remember, but on the website, which I'm going to show in a second, it says We Suck at Comics, a comic book art and prose anthology. Was the first one prose as well?
Yep.
Oh, it was. Okay.
Prose and comics, yeah.
Okay. Now, I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, or?
I was going to say, we have some formatted prose as well. So.
Okay. Did that have to go through any type of editing process? Because, with comics, you can look and see the visuals. Does the story make sense, even if the words aren't in there? But now you got a prose part, and it's all words. Did Mark, as the writer, did you go in and make sure it was edited correctly?
Yeah, we did a little bit of editing. Alex and I are trying not to laugh right now because one of our contributors sent us something, and we missed it because it fit with his piece. And then he came back later on and he said, "You guys missed this," or you guys screwed this up. We went, well, hold on a sec. Let's take a look. And we went back and like, nope, that's exactly as you gave it to us. And that isn't something we would have even thought to edit. It just like it actually, I don't know if we should say what or how, but
let's not name names, but if you read the book, you might catch it.
It started Alex and I probably laughing our asses off back and forth for about 10 minutes because just it made it even funnier that the typo actually. But yeah.
We told them we'd fix it, but I think we're going to keep it just because it's awesome.
I think we're keeping it. I love it.
In terms of editing, we did not edit any content. We may have formatted a few things. Because some of the people, like for pros, they submitted like Word docs or PDFs, so we had to kind of realign them to fit into the format for the book. So like in some cases, like fixing up tabs and whatever and line breaks. Yeah.
Okay. So now you're coming in here and you're talking about what was I going to say? You're talking about what to expect, what the book's about. Now, I'm not going to go through all this in detail right now, but is there what's the theme of this one? The last one was rejection.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have a different theme or
coloring outside the lines?
Exactly, right there.
Absolutely.
And when you say coloring outside the lines, what do you mean by that?
Your colors has to suck.
Oh, so I can submit then because I'm a terrible. I'm colorblind, man.
If you've got a 3-year-old who just kind of goes like this, no, that's fine. No. In all seriousness, although that would be funny, we'd probably take it. But no, really, it's about kind of looking for stuff that's a little bit outside the norm. We love, stuff that makes you think. We love stuff that's a little bit unusual. And again, I think we're willing to be kind of a little bit fast and loose with the theme. There's a whole section in the submission which allows you to kind of justify why your piece fits.
Yeah, I think when we did the first book, I was definitely especially in the cover design, kind of thinking like this is a kind of a punk rock anthology in the sense that like it's like whatever works, and even if it doesn't, it's still cool. And that's kind of what we're taking with this one, stepping it up. The theme is more colors in how you interpret it. And we've had some submissions where people are really running the gamut of what it means to color outside the lines, both literally and figuratively. So,
okay. So coloring outside doesn't mean your colors has to be messy. We just want you to.
There was without going into specifics, there is one creator. They sent us something that was mostly black and white, and then they're using color as ways of highlighting a few things. I'm like, yeah, that's dope. I like that.
Yeah. So wow, you're looking at no longer than 25 pages. That's a full book.
Yeah.
What if 20 people send you 25-page stories?
Well, I guess we're gonna have a thick book.
Or we're gonna have several books, or we'll have to cut it down a little bit.
That is one thing we did talk about. Like we are gonna go for a smaller book because of all the issues with printing. So one thing we're stressing to people is get your submissions in now, because once we hit a certain page count, we're closing this. Now that doesn't mean we're gonna just outright reject you. People, it might be like whatever is overflow will be in the next volume or a new anthology. So,
and you have till November 17th.
Correct.
Or until we fill it up, right?
Yeah.
So that's the other thing. Like it's kind of a while supplies last, right?
Yeah. And so so basically it's first come first serve almost by November 17th, or if you fill up first. Now that's just for submissions. What's your goal for turning around, having it, because you're going to run another Kickstarter, so you're going to turn around, put it together, Kickstarter it, and then when is this book expected to hit the
I
shelves?
think right now the timeline is a Kickstarter early next year.
Okay.
But again, if we get a ton of submissions, and we've actually got a bunch of them lately, they've been rolling in pretty well. We might move that timeline up, right?
Okay.
It's possible.
Nice. And so if you do the Kickstarter early next year, let's say end of January, February time, because that's early next year, when do you see the books hitting the shelves? Like
summer,
summer
at the latest, I think. We're probably thinking first quarter next year, so maybe probably closer to end of February, end of March, something like that.
Okay.
We've definitely noticed that there are certain times where you should and shouldn't do a Kickstarter, and also just giving it time for printing and tweaks and stuff like that. Plus, that's also when convention season is going to be starting up again. So we want to make sure that we can at least have these, at the table, and so that contributors who do conventions can also have them at their tables.
Yeah. Now, you offer comp copies of the book, or how does it work?
So the deal we've kind of made with folks is they can order as many as they want at our cost, right?
Okay.
So, you want 20 and you want to go sell them or whatever, cool. Totally up to you. Yeah.
So, I mean, this looks really interesting to me here.
The one thing I want to stress too with this one, that's different from Volume 1 is we're also looking for art pieces. So if you're an artist but you don't have a script, you don't have a writer, submit some art pieces. The one restriction would be it's got to be IP that you own, or at least you've worked with somebody that owns it. We had a few people starting to submit like Marvel and DC characters. I'm like, I love that, but we can't legally use them. So I mean, some like Michael, like you have a lot of your own characters. You're more than welcome to submit, and a lot of indie creators I know, if you have your own characters but no story to go with it, that's perfect for us.
Well, let me ask you, just for those watching. I mean, let's say there's somebody like me who has a comic strip like The Wiz. What if I put a couple of pages of The Wiz together? Would that be something that is submittable?
Totally, it's your character. And especially what's even cool if it's a character that you're doing independent. We're going to promote it. Like as an example, for Volume 1, a friend of mine, Ari, we did a commission for somebody else. I included that with his permission in our book as a way of saying, hey, look at this thing we created for somebody else. All of our contributors, we're promoting them too. So it's like, it's not just going to be like a byline. We will literally say, if you like this piece, go check out this person, social media, bookshop, whatever. I think for Johnny C, we did his Global Comics link. For Ari Rubin, we included a link, something to show that he did another book entirely independent of our anthology on Amazon. With a link to that. So it's like,
the piece of the site here that talks about Volume 1, Alex did a really nice write-up on each one of the contributors there, and you can kind of scroll down and see their bio and stuff like that.
Yeah, if you scroll to the top, actually, the third link, Volume 1 rejection.
Yes.
Yeah. You scroll through this tells you about the first anthology, and if you scroll down a little bit, you'll see all the creators with links to their projects.
Nice.
Yeah.
There's Ari. We know Ari.
Yeah. Ryan.
I don't know if I know Ryan.
He's in the Midwest. He does a show called Geekcast Live, and he did one of his first books with us. In fact, funny story. That's how we found him, because him and his group had found Horseman, one of our books, out of the blue, and did a podcast. And Mark was like, I'm on the bus going into work, and he's like, yo, did you hear these guys did a podcast about us? I was like, what the hell is this?
That's great. So there you are. I feel like I know Mike. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think there's probably a bunch of people that we know here.
Yeah.
Pig Hero.
Yeah, that was an interesting story. And we all know Jeff.
Yeah.
And in his case, I gave links to the individual creators since we had that information. So I think with Christoph, we went out of our way to make sure to highlight his artist, because he's really cool dude.
Catherine, if you want to pause there for a moment too, we're going to be putting out her book, Napoleon Starship, in its entirety.
Really?
soon too. So we're putting some last minute touches on things. We're going to circle back with her soon and just getting that wrapped up, and then getting it printed and getting it out there.
Yeah, she's
Nice.
cool. She's really
And so you're moving into now publishing other people, then? Like outside of the anthology. You're oh, cool. That's great to hear.
It's we small limited doses, right? Because we don't have the ability right now to publish hundreds of books a year, but when we find a project we really like, and I love her artwork, she's a fantastic writer, great creator. We couldn't resist doing something with her. So yeah,
I'll have to check out her stuff if you're saying it's that good.
Oh yeah, beautiful, absolutely.
There's our Sebastian. I was about to say.
I love the picture of Josh, and I love the fact that you juxtapose beer and beer.
And there's Johnny. Yeah, wow, you got a lot of good people, Jonathan.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't know Joel was in here. Cool.
The funny story is the him and I were supposed to do a story for a different anthology, and we were switching roles. I wrote it; he was going to draw it. It didn't. It ended up not working out, so I ended up drawing him what I wrote. But I also got him and Gorga to work together on a project. I was like, yeah, come on, you're in this thing. Let's do this.
Yeah.
And then there's
that's great.
Yep.
Yeah, Sadar, we know. TC Ford is great.
See, more proof. I have other T-shirts.
Another show.
They only say Wayward Raven, but I have other T-shirts.
Now, listen, you guys have a great logo. I love your logo.
I do love the logo. Yeah.
This is really, really cool stuff. I mean, and just so people know, let me go back up. This is, I'm just going to click the, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to the We Suck at Comics page here, the main one. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to drop it in the comments if I can find what monitor I'm on. Here we go. So anyone interested in submitting, this is going out to my Facebook page, my YouTube page, and my Twitch page where I stream on.
Appreciate that.
So
Absolutely.
You guys out there can submit. I'll be honest, I'm thinking of submitting.
Yeah, please do.
I got a few things packed away that are either close to finished or finished that I've never done anything with. Excuse me.
Perfect.
Yeah. So I know I'd have time to polish up some stuff if I wanted to and submit. I think this sounds like fun.
Oh no, it's totally And like the one thing again, I've been asked this a couple times. Like, if you submit things, we don't own it; it's yours. Do what you want with it afterwards too. So like, if it's something that's been published, we'll reprint. We're basically reprinting it. So
Now, so let me ask you this, just because you brought that up, and I know some artists can be a little crazy about their work. I know I can be at times, but do you put that in writing for them? Any contracts, anything when you're working with the artist, or is that just like, hey, listen, got an anthology, just give us your work, we'll publish it?
Well, there's definitely a contract people would have to sign, and it basically is one, you're giving us the right to publish it. You're saying that it's your own, it's your work, or you own the work, right? Because look, you might have, like in my case, I've contracted people to do some of my stuff before, and part of that contract is I own it, but I pay you for it, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, so long as people are meeting those guidelines that they own it, or they have the right to produce it, we have the right to produce it, and we kind of have a limited amount of production on that, right? So we're not going to keep it forever and ever and ever and ever, but once it goes out of print, it's out of print.
Okay. I want to come back to this just to remind people towards the end of the show about this, and I might have a few other questions. But I want to ask you guys about right now are some of your other projects, some of the other books you do. You have a web comic that's on Instagram. Let's get people to know a little bit more about Wayward Raven that they're not familiar with, if they're not familiar with you, So is it on this website here? Or is
absolutely. If you go to waywardraven.com, you'll get everything.
Okay.
On our homepage, like somewhere in the middle, there's a link to our webcomic,
Okay.
heroes.com. So.
Let me share the screen again,
Mhm.
and we will. Oh, I just have to find the monitor. And there we go. So this is the main page.
Yep, you can just click on home or our logo.
Yeah.
Yep.
And there we go. You got some graphic novels. So Horseman and Sign C the Missing. Can you talk about those?
Sure, absolutely. Horseman's sci-fi action adventure, loosely based on the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse.
Okay.
They're the good guys, and they're fighting fate and destiny to preserve free will throughout the multiverse. Yeah, so it's fun. Both of these are completed, by the way. One of the things we love is done, dead is dead. You know what I mean? Like that. That's it. There's no, you know. And then with Signed, Myth, Magic, Mayhem, imagine a world in which the gods didn't die out. They just got day jobs. C is a talent agent and a sorceress, and her client goes missing. So it ends up being kind of a mythological detective story.
Ooh, that sounds really fun.
Yeah.
And we got some other stuff here. What's this? The committee?
The committee, speaking of publishing, that was actually something we published for another creator, James Emmett. It's a really cool guy. The committee is, I like to joke and call it Buffy with aliens. The committee is a team that monitors the doomsday clock. And as it's about to strike midnight, they need to race to find out what's going to cause the end of the world.
Nice. That sounds fun. I mean, I enjoy the artwork on here.
Yeah, James actually wrote and illustrated it.
Yeah, it's a nice painting. How many issues are there? Are these just those two?
2 so far. He's been working on 3, so we're hoping to get that one out soon. We've kind of gone through the script. I think it's just we're at the point where we need to start, putting pen to paper, so to speak.
Now, because I can't see the interiors. Do they look like as rendered in the colors as this, or is it more comic book coloring?
More comic book coloring.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it's all his artwork.
Yeah.
He did the pencils. I believe Alex Rivera did the inks.
Okay.
On book 1 or 2. On book 2, thank you. Because I think James was doing the inks in the first one, but then Alex was helping after that. And I'm drawing a blank on the colorist right now. But they did. Yeah. And I think it was Taylor Esposito, right?
Oh, the letters were definitely Taylor, yeah.
I make it a point to highlight who's doing the letters. Letterers deserve a lot of respect.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I consider myself someone who sucks at lettering. I use a font, and it's. I mean, I know it's funny. I know how to letter like traditionally so much that I cannot write in script anymore or lowercase. So when I write by hand, it's all caps and it's clean and it's nice and neat. I just hate doing it now that I just chose a font, which is from Glambot. It's Digital Strip, and that's what I use for the Wiz, guys. We saw this. You told us about the sign, but let's take a look and see any kind of. Oh, there's more imagery in there. Cool. That's a nice cover.
Yeah. Wayne Brown.
Yeah, Wayne does great artwork.
Chapter 1. Oh, that is nice. I like that.
So if you're into Greek mythology, highly recommend this book, and you can also probably figure out the story, or at least the background of C, the main character, within the first few issues.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some smattering of a number of different, I think we're kind of all over with the images. So they're not linear what you're looking at, but yeah, some of the high points.
No, really nice.
Walking away. Yeah.
I love I gotta say, I love the logo. This S right here is a really nice symbol. Nice. And then we go back and and then we were looking at here, Damn Heroes. This is your 4-pack you can get of them. And you do the art, Alex, right? And you write art.
Yep.
Okay. Cool.
Although we did have the one strip where we switched roles, and
We've done it more than once, actually. Like the first time we did it, since we worked in the same physical office, one of our coworkers had crayons, so we used line paper and crayons, and we switched roles. And since then, like there was one time I think we used our headshots with stick figures,
yeah,
and a bunch of other weird stuff. I think there was one we had where Josh even wrote something funky.
yeah, that's right. He did. That was interesting.
Yeah. And we've all three of us now have guest starred in the book.
Well, since this is kind of, I guess, your most regular thing you do, you want to tell us about the strip, what it's about?
Yeah, it's so the pitch is young man goes 5 miles over the speed limit in a town full of superheroes and has to do 5 years of community service. His landlord is a supervillain, and his parole officer is an overly righteous but kind of dumb superhero. We started it a lot more superhero focused, but over time it's become more of like a pop culture and something like, yeah, we basically poke fun at pop culture and whatever is top of mind. And it gets very meta. Like there's a couple of strips where it's just, since we've introduced ourselves in the book, there's like a couple strips where it's us at conventions and the stuff that we deal with at conventions, or just stuff in our daily life. Sometimes, we don't get political, but sometimes what things that are on the news get mentioned. When lockdown happened, we had an entire thing of like, safety first and, and a few mask jokes. We've been doing this for a while now. Yeah. More pop culture, like the whole Hawaiian Punch thing.
Yeah.
Or Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
Kool-Aid.
If you look at, on volume 2, that's when we introduce ourselves. And that's it. Yep. I'm sure you can see who's who.
Yeah. Oh, this is nice stuff. I just want to go to the cover a little more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. No, that's nice. I like that. And you publish this weekly, correct?
Weekly on damnheroes.com. We've also started, like Mark, we've been doing it on Instagram as well. So it goes up the same day on Instagram. We've also been backfilling it on Webtoon. If you're in there, that's been going there. But you get the latest on damnheroes.com.
Nice. How? Let me just ask you, how is Webtoon? Because I've been thinking of pushing the Wiz up on Webtoon.
It's different. I designed Damn Heroes to be kind of a traditional American comic strip.
Meaning, like I have it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's horizontal, 3 to 4 panels. Sometimes we play with a panel design, but it's essentially a newspaper strip. Mm-hmm. With Webtoon, it's designed for vertical scrolling on your phone. So some of my newer strips are easier to port over because they're usually, very specifically 3 to 4, and they can cut and be rearranged. It's easy. But in the beginning, I was hand drawing a lot of these things. Mm-hmm. So I tried to get creative with my panel design. And the downside is, unless I want to redraw the whole damn thing for Webtoons, I've been just reslicing things to fit in that. So every now and then I get in these situations where like the horizontal thing just needs to be cut in awkward positions. So, that is a bit of
like
a
back of the Volkswagen?
Yeah. Well, actually, I did have to cut the Volkswagen in the first 2 strips. So, but yeah, like that's been the formatting thing has been a bit of an issue. So like, it depends. So some of the newer ones, for instance, since like as I got into more of a digital process, it was easier to retool some things. But some of the original ones, it's like literally I had to get very creative with the way I cut it. So yeah, that's my biggest issue with it.
Yeah, because the Wiz for me has always been a 3 to 4 panel strip, newspaper style strip. So just cutting them and putting them underneath each other, might work.
If yours is really structured, like very well, then yeah, it should be easy to port it over. My creativity was kind of the bane of my existence for moving this over, but especially for some of my new stuff, since as part of my process, I automatically slice them now for Instagram. Once I hit that point, that'll be easier for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because when you slice them, I'm just curious about your process because I'm doing the same stuff with the Wiz. Are you slicing them up like in a software like Photoshop, or how are you?
Yeah, I use Affinity Studio.
Okay.
And so like all of my newer prints, like from the moment, so there was a point where I was doing everything on paper, and then I moved to an iPad Pro, and then I moved to Vector. Once I moved to Vector, my process was essentially templatized, where I have my pre-designed template. I do all the assets, and then I have an export function that just spits it out for the web and for my individual slices and a thumbnail, so that I can eventually move that into Instagram and Webtoon. But once I got to that point, I had to go back to my old stuff for Webtoon. So like it was kind of like a rewind process. And being that I'm a coder in my day job, I wrote a little script to kind of automate some of that stuff for me. So that's helped a lot.
That's awesome. Yeah, no, I'd have to go in and do everything by hand, but yeah, no, it's interesting because I right now I slice up on my phone. I just airdrop the file from my computer to my phone, and I just duplicate the file and cut it with the crop tool before I upload. But I've been trying to figure out a way to make it simpler on me because I still have Photoshop and like the entire Adobe suite for professional reasons, but I'm looking to move away from it. And I draw in Clip Studio Paint now. So
I was using Clip Studio Paint for a while. I found it a little cumbersome for my purposes, which is why I switched to Affinity, and that makes things a lot easier for me, especially because I'm on a Mac. And what I like about Affinity is, since I use an iPad Pro for my drawing at conventions or on the go, I can port things over really easily. Like every now and then you might catch me at a con. I'm working on Damn Heroes at the con, and I don't have to like reconvert the file to a different format. I can just save it to Dropbox and pick up where I left off. No problem. No muss, no fuss. So if you're using Photoshop, I can probably help you figure out how to export it. I'm very rusty at Clip Studio, but I think they have a process too. And if you ever want to make the move to Affinity, I can help you out.
I have Affinity for my iPad. I wanted to try it. I just never got the hang of it. And I just always liked drawing in Clip Studio, so I stuck with that. But I actually have a template I made up in Photoshop, which I bring into Clip Studio.
Nice.
And it's a 2 or 3 panel layout. Not 2, a 3 or 4 panel layout. And I have all my guidelines, everything all set up, and everything's all good to go. So, very comfortable with that. But let's just, you got a couple more I'm interested in here.
Yeah,
let's talk Percy.
Yeah.
A children's adventure.
Percy's a Surish. He's never met another of his kind before, and he goes looking for more like him. It is a Surish is this character not a lot of people have probably heard of. It's something on the Ishtar Gates, and we got to kind of play around a little bit. The young woman who did all the artwork, Elke, she did the whole thing in watercolor. I mean, that's why it has that really, really cool look, and it's a lot of fun. I mean, I think it's always cool to go to a con, and we've had this one out a little bit, that we've had some times when people come back and they said, hey, I've read this to my kid every night, and he or she loves the book, and that's always really rewarding to hear that.
Yeah.
I
do enjoy the artwork very much in here.
Oh, it is really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of those things we want to do more kids books. So it's just finding the right one.
Yeah. I got so many in my head. I have one drawn out, and I've been having issues getting, with the publishing company I'm dealing with. Once I get that under control.
If you're looking for a different publisher.
We might know you guys.
We could talk off the air. But
Yeah.
But and what's this one? Lines: A Tale of Two Families.
So that's a transhumanist sci-fi novel written by Josh. And one thing we've been doing with that one is we've made a lot of the chapters available for free on our website.
Mhm.
But if you prefer to just read it all in one shot on the go, you can buy the digital version. I forgot how much it was, but it was like super cheap. Yeah, it was like
Let's find out.
$2.
Buy now. Oh wait, I don't want to spend the money yet, but $2.99
Yeah.
for a digital copy. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, on our website, I think I forgot where it's linked on the main page. You could probably get to it, or we have a section called freebies. You just go to waywardraven.com/freebies. You can look at all that stuff as well. So yeah, we're really big on giving some stuff away.
Yeah.
We're giving away some of our free comics as well if people sign up for that. I think we have the first issue of Signed See the Missing for free. So
Yeah.
that as well.
Mhm.
And yeah, since two of the three of us are writers, we have a lot of prose. Lines is one. Lux Prismatica is another one. It's a collection of short stories. If you want to click on that one, I'll tell you about it.
Which one is that? This one?
Right there. Yep.
Looks.
Yeah. So Lux is technically a novella with two short stories that.
Okay.
So the to them, the novella itself was written by Josh, and then he has a short story in there that kind of relates to it as well. Actually, it actually relates to one of his other books, and so that's in there. And then I have a short story in there also. They all kind of revolve around a sci-fi theme. I think you get a little bit of kind of that outsider look, or even kind of the idea of what would aliens actually be like, that sort of thing.
Yeah. Nice. I mean, everything just sounds so fun. You guys, I'm just going to put your homepage into the comments so people can go visit that as well.
Thank you.
Because you got so many great things going on here.
We keep ourselves busy.
Yeah, it looks like it. I thought I was a busy person. Wow, this is great stuff here. Oh, and you put out last week on Damn Heroes. And they'll take you to the website. I just read this one today.
Yep.
Yeah.
Today.
Brand new today.
Yeah. This is a nice step. So this is okay. We'll have to. We may have to chat about this. I'm trying to build one of these types of pages right now for the Wiz.
Cool. Yeah.
So. But yeah, no, this was pretty funny. I cracked up. I really laughed at this one here.
Yeah. When we were first talking about it, we were gonna go. We had a lot of different ideas on how the dolls should look. I decided to keep it a little simple. Although originally I had thought about like Thelma and Louise for some reason, which is probably where that acronym comes from.
Just keep going. Yeah.
Let's see what's going on here. And this was last week. So yeah, you guys show up a lot now in the strip, huh?
Yeah.
And we've been kind of like a lot of our ideas are just more of like the meta approach of having been doing this for the last 10 years. So
yeah, I mean, once you hit a certain point, where do you go with the strip? I mean, I find that I've only been doing the Wiz. I brought him back in January of this year, and I haven't done them since 2019. But like even now, sometimes I think about directions and what where I'd go with the strip. Not just because like it's not like I don't have ideas. I just want to do so much, but only a certain amount of time. Like right now, I only have the time to do a once a week strip.
Yeah.
So it's hard for me to develop stories in a 4-panel of a once a week strip. So but like you've been building this up for so long, you could do a good ongoing type story. You've been doing this now since what, 2012, you said?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
they do sometimes kind of all pull in. You get a 5-6 strip run. We like the one shot stuff, but I don't know.
A lot of it comes from like we're at a con, we're riffing, and then it's like, oh, that's a good idea. or like, oh, we want to fake our own deaths because we get too tired. Okay, that's a strip. That's a series.
Yeah.
And then just some weird thing will happen at a show, and we're like, okay, that's a strip. So yeah. And then there's times like, honestly, I know everyone keeps talking about webcomics. You need to have a buffer. There's some times where it's like I draw this Monday night, and like the hour before my drawing time, I'm texting Mark like, yo, we need to come up with something.
You know what? I do that sometimes myself with the Wiz. I actually had that last night. I couldn't. I have jokes written, but I didn't think they were polished enough to draw, and I haven't had a chance to work on them to polish them up. So I was like, okay, I got to do something. What do I do? What do I do? And I just started doodling. I had some pictures of characters that I liked that I wanted to introduce. So I just basically made one of the characters walking throughout the strip, and I'm like, okay, how do I fit the Wiz in here now? And I threw him in the background. And I had a friend kind of come up with an idea, and I'm like, no, that's not good yet. I mean, it was a good joke, but it wasn't like for the Wiz right now.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, here's what I'm going to do. And I'm like, so literally within 2 minutes of talking to a friend of mine, I had my joke. But I stayed up till 12:30 drawing last night, and I was like, okay, ready for tomorrow.
I think oddly enough, Alex and I are particularly practiced at that last minute, like, holy shit, we just got to get this done.
Yeah.
Right? And oddly, sometimes the ones that we come up with on a Monday night, or even a Tuesday night sometimes are some of the better ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we learned a long time ago, like the more we plan, the less funny it is. And sometimes just whatever's top of mind works better.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, like, doing this for this long, we've never missed a deadline.
And that's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. I mean, this is great. Now since you do, you said it was very meta with you guys, kind of commenting on your lives and stuff. And you also mentioned you kind of do pop culture stuff, right? Are you pulling from like the geek community, or are you pulling? Is it just like that, or do you pull from other genres that?
I think it's whatever hits us at the time. Sometimes it's what we're reading or watching or whatever, and then sometimes it's something you might see in the news, or something that happened just in our lives because whatever, this is that particular hardship or whatever.
Yeah, like I think there was one, I think that speaks to me, was like when we crap, I just lost. It's like back a few years ago when we had like all the heavy snowstorms. It's then it snowed in Hero City, and we were just complaining about the snow versus somebody said something to us at a convention, and that's a strip. Or actually, now that I remember what it was, if you ever watched the Green Arrow show on CW, there was the running gag between us. It's like how everyone in the city knew his secret identity. It's like, how is this a secret anymore? So we did that as a one shot of like they're watching TV and the character's revealing his identity, and then he pops off the TV and he's still revealing his identity. So
that sounds good. I'd have to go deep for that probably to find it, but
that was a while
since
back.
Arrow especially hasn't been on in how many years? I mean, it's
yeah, right.
Been a little bit, yeah.
Well, our version's called the Crossbow.
The Crossbow. I like that name. That's a good name for a character. The Crossbow.
I think for a lot of us too, it's like Mark and I, we tend to overlap in a lot of our interests. I think so like that is one thing. Well, we kind of have a shorthand. But then when there's times it's like when something happens, like I think we did a tribute to Stanley when he passed away, and even like Leonard Nimoy. So stuff like that we kind of pop in there.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool stuff. Listen, I'm a fan of this. So when I see it on Instagram, so when I see it, that's when I read it.
Appreciate that. Yeah,
I really enjoy that. And I love his design. I think. Yeah. I just see so much stuff. Like I would love to see you guys animate him specifically.
I love that too. Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah, he's got a nice. I'm sorry, what?
Or his counterpart, Captain Heinous.
Captain Heinous.
Yeah.
Yeah, and a lot since like a lot of the stuff is inspired by comic book stuff. Once you get the reference, it's obvious where we got some of this stuff from.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, for Captain Righteous as an example, his nemesis, Captain Heinous, is essentially whereas he's primary colors, Heinous is secondary colors.
Yeah.
So stuff like that.
It's just nice. I like going back and looking at these things here.
Yeah, for scenes where we're watching TV, a lot of times we'll throw Easter eggs for some of our books in there too. So.
Oh, I saw that right there. I was trying to figure out where they were from, but
yeah, that is for another anthology piece that we did for somebody else's that will be probably.
Oh
yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the piece in Unknown Heroes, right?
Yep.
Wow. There you go. This is just great, man. I can look at this stuff all day. I mean, listen, I know it is a strip. I actually have always been more of a strip guy than a book guy. I've said that many times.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing this type of stuff really, it excites me. Trying to think if I have any more questions right now, because we've basically, we've hit an hour mark. I'm good with going longer and chatting. I know we were talking offline about a certain topic. If you want to bring it up, if you don't want to talk about it right now, we could save it for another time.
We also, since Mark brews, we put Dr. Empty on the label too. Yeah.
Let me get you. Hold on. Let me get to the right monitor.
Zero that in.
Show that up, man. Oh, that is nice. I saw it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very nice. Are these sold at shows?
So we can't sell them, but we could gift them to people that we liked, or maybe as a complimentary something if they were to purchase some of our goods.
The stickers, though, we will be selling. So.
Oh, whoops! I hit that, but I never know what button I hit.
If you read the website, you would like to throw in some like deep nerdy things like Anvilania from Animaniacs.
When I saw that, I used to know that song by heart.
Yeah,
like when I was, I don't want to call myself a kid, but when I was a teenager and Animaniacs was out, I actually bought their CDs because I was such a fan of the music.
Mm-hmm.
And also, I really wanted to learn the whole words of the nations of the world, and I needed to to hear it.
I tried that. I could never get it.
Oh, I had it at one. I won't do it now, and I know Rob Paulson has had it updated, but I won't do it publicly live. But yeah, I won't. I remember this. All those songs were great.
Mm-hmm.
Pinky with How I Love My Cheeses. Cheese from around the world. They were all great stuff. Yeah, no, I was looking at some of these here, and some of the things like I'd look up and great scene.
I'm just getting warmed up.
Hooah!
Hooah!
We've been friends for too long. Oh my god! Whenever we're at a show and we catch each other completing sentences, we're like, okay, this is getting weird now.
Weird.
Hey, you've been together for what is this now? 11 years.
And the funny part is my 10-year anniversary with my wife is coming up now too, because it just coincidentally happens around the same time. It was so weird.
So longer with Mark than your wife.
No, I've been with my wife longer, but I've been married to Mark longer than my wife.
Well, listen, when you guys are able to do that, it's a sign of a good working relationship.
Mm-hmm.
You guys balance each other out very well. I mean, you couldn't do this 11 years with hating each other.
Maybe that helps in some ways.
I mean,
it's definitely antagonistic some days.
Oh yeah. We have disagreements at times.
Of course that's going to come, but I'm just saying you have to.
I think the best part is we know what pisses the other person off, so like we know how to push each other's buttons a little too well.
Yeah. So in that respect, it's also kind of like a marriage. Jesus, yeah.
Well, all those types of things are,
I think when we physically work together, my wife would call him my work wife. So
you're spending too much time at conventions, Alex. I don't like it.
Well, it's funny. It's like when I'm at conventions, she'll text me like, "Oh, I miss you. When are you coming home?" Once I get home, it's like, "When the hell are you leaving?" So,
Well, you work remote now, right?
yeah, I work at home. Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah, so you're always home.
basically, and she works down the block essentially.
Oh.
So she,
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
fun.
no. I listen. I'm kind of in the same. I work remote as well, and my wife works remote some days a week, and some days she's in the office.
Yeah.
You know, so it's,
My wife, she works like long shifts, but she has a lot more days off. So there's days I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give you space. I'm going to the coffee shop, or I'm gonna go for a walk when the weather's nice.
Yeah.
So that's been helpful.
yeah, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know what else to ask you guys about. I'm just enjoying chatting here. I'm excited for your work. I'm excited for your anthology. Do you guys have anything you'd like to mention that we didn't mention, or you want to just chat about? Have you seen the new Blue Beetle movie yet? Any thoughts?
I have actually. I enjoyed it very well, pretty much. Yeah. Have you
I
seen
haven't
it? You don't see it, right?
No,
I
not yet.
haven't seen it. Yeah.
I know. I think for me, it's like I'm very. One thing I liked about that. No spoilers, but as a first generation American, some of a lot of the references and just things of being a child of immigrants really resonated with me. I know some of my friends, my Latin friends, were like, like, yeah, I get that reference. So it hit a little closer for them. And just as a story, it definitely had a lot of heart. And there was a couple of scenes where I caught myself getting, a little teary eyed. Maybe it's also because of just family loss and whatever and things like that. So like it's got heart. That's the one that I keep saying. It has heart.
Okay. I haven't heard that review. I've heard that it was fun. That's everyone's saying
It is a fun
movie.
Yeah. But I like what they did. I mean, granted, I'm not as familiar with Blue Beetle as maybe some other people are, but I liked how they did the character, and I'm a fan of the cast. So,
Yeah, I saw the cast. My wife was telling me she saw a commercial the other day for it. She didn't know about it. I'm like, I thought we saw the trailer together. Maybe not, but I kind of explained. I showed her a YouTube video about this version of Blue Beetle, and like the thing that when I saw the trailer originally that got me excited was when they were on the bug and there was the shout out, little callback to Ted Cord and Dan Garrett, Blue Beetle, because I grew up with Ted as my Blue Beetle, and I read Golden Age books, where I could find with Dan in there. So to me, those are the Blue Beetles. I never really got into Jaime as the Blue Beetle, so I know about him, but I'm not like where I was like if it was a Ted Cord Blue Beetle, where I'd be like, okay, I need to see this because it's Ted,
So, without giving any spoilers, I'll say this superhero story. It's an origin story for Jaime, but it's a lived-in world, meaning there is superheroes exist. They in the trailer they name drop Batman and blah. And
yeah.
They're doing that a lot of the DC movies, but there are ties to the greater franchises. So, and I think that like James Gunn was saying, like this is hit, in his universe because of how much he enjoyed it, even though wasn't involved in it.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is going to resonate, with the rest of what the new DCU is going to be like, so I highly recommend people watch it. And I think it's a fun movie.
Okay. Because I didn't hear the stuff about what James Gunn said. I'm glad that a movie that was fun is part of his universe. I was one of those people who've always been nervous about James Gunn being in charge. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, I've been a fan of his since Slither, so I'm in. I'm aboard.
Yeah, I haven't liked a lot of what he's done with superhero movies outside of the first Guardians. So I
think we've had this conversation about
Peacemaker. Yeah.
Right? That's what it was.
Yeah.
I love Peacemaker, so I can see where some people would be on board. But
here's the thing. Here's what it comes down to for me. Number one, and I'll just say about Peacemaker, I thought it was too comical. I thought they tried to make Vigilante Deadpool, and I really didn't like that about him because that's not the character. And I don't need everything always, comic book accurate. If you need to make a change for the better, go for it. Make it better. I didn't feel that was for the better for the character. I just felt it was like, okay, you know what? Deadpool is popular. We need a character that could be kind of crazy and all that, and we're going to turn this character into that. That's what I felt. But at the same time, I've also come to the conclusion, I've said this on the show before, I'm no longer the target audience for these movies. I mean, our age group technically isn't the target audience.
Yeah.
So when these movies are made, if I want to see them, I will spend the money and go see them. Otherwise, I'll wait for streaming. And if I don't like them, I'm not going to try to, I'm hopefully not going to complain about it. I'm going to be like, okay, these are not for me. I'm going to go back into my comic collection and pull out the books that are for me of these characters, or the cartoons that I grew, or whatever that I liked about that character. Like I've never liked any Batman movie ever made. I think they are all not Batman. And you know what? I'll go pick out the trades and the graphic novels I have of Batman and read those and be like, okay, this is a good Batman story. That's just how I feel these days. All the Star Wars stuff, the new Ahsoka Tano came out yesterday. I hear The Flash is coming to streaming, I believe, on Friday. So like I didn't see it in the theater because I had no interest in it, but I'll watch it on streaming. So
that's fair.
I know. Yeah, it's.
I find I just can't get to everything. That's my biggest problem.
Yeah.
Like I'd watch everything in the theater if I could, but I just don't have the damn time. Yeah.
I think a lot of us are like that, but it's just I don't know. I don't know. I can go into a giant rant and things here, and I'm not going to. It's I don't want to be the guy who comes off as sounding like I'm constantly complaining. The truth is, I'm just very passionate about the genres, the characters. These are something, like I've always said, and I've said this to you guys. I don't want my superheroes cursing. I want them to be better than me. I want them to be something I can aspire to. So when I hear a superhero cursing, I'm like, kind of takes me out. They're not really heroic. I just feel heroes should have a little stricter code, and I get that in the comics, so
yeah, I tend to I think for me it's like I'm used to treating adaptations as separate things. Like I see that a lot for like novels, when a novel becomes a book, I automatically know it's not gonna be the same thing. So I go into that from that regard. But I get what you're saying. Like when it's something you're really passionate about, something you identify, this is my thing. Like for me, it was weird. Like Akira is what I always point out for this.
Oh,
I got used to the original dub, right?
Okay.
And then around 2000, I bought it came out on DVD. I'm like, yes, I'm gonna buy this on DVD. I couldn't watch it because the audio, the voice actors were different. And for me, it's like I'm sure if I came to it fresh, I would enjoy it. But for me that it just sounds weird,
Yeah.
And I recognize that that's me. It's not the Akira. It's me. I'm used to this. These voice actors. I couldn't tell you which one's better. I just know this is what I identify. It'd be like as if they took the Animaniacs and redubbed them, and it'd be like it just sounds alien to me.
Yeah.
So
I
I
rewatched Akira a few months ago on Tubi. I don't know if it's still on there, but I don't know which version. Now I didn't realize it was because I haven't seen it, since like the early '90s. Yeah. And I'm like, so I don't remember the original voice acting, so I don't know which was which. I just remember just enjoying the movie, but yeah, I mean,
for me, it's like that's just the one thing. Like, there's sometimes where it doesn't register as much, but like when it comes to like certain things, like if it's ingrained in my head, then it's hard for me to separate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just in general not a fan of things that get remade. I mean, and I know that's probably not an uncommon gripe, but I kind of feel like, look, go do something different. I hate the let's do something safe because it's good for like the box office revenue bull crap, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, just even iterate on the theme. I don't care. Take it forward, but don't, stop going backwards, stop remaking things, you know? And I think at some point, everyone will eventually just get to the point where like, we're tired of it. Give us something new, you know?
Yeah. Well, you bring up something, and I kind of hinted to it earlier. I'm going to bring up the topic then that we talked about off the air, because you're talking about Hollywood and tired of remakes. With the writer strike and the actor strike going on right now, one of the big things we're talking about with them is AI, and there's a big thing with AI in art now. I just recently saw a post on Facebook. Someone shared it that said you can't copyright AI art, which is to me a good thing. If the what is it, the companies get their way, they're going to be able to use artists and writers through AI. Now, I don't know if that just meant that you can't copyright print work or does that transfer over to film and they can't copyright AI used art, like anything. So any movie, if they make a new Iron Man film and they use AI art in the crowd scene, can that movie not be copywritten anymore? You know what I mean? And protect it.
I think the thing I struggle with AI is that the source of which it's pulling from, right, is very likely copyrighted already. And so it's kind of like, all right, so you're taking something that's copyrighted, you're changing it, right?
Yeah.
And then you're reusing it. And that's where I'm like wondering, is that where the legal battle is going to come in? Is that where it's going to be like, look, you just basically ripped off my artwork and, used my style or whatever. And I imagine it's going to be the same thing with writing too. And that, write me something in the style of Hemingway. Okay.
I think litigating that's going to be harder and harder, especially, like if there isn't a paper trail, like you might be able to look and say, okay, they clearly drew this in Salvador Dali's style.
Yeah.
But what if, one of the things about generative AI is you can combine styles to the point where it might not be as recognizable. And so how are you going to litigate that? Let's say, for instance, just arbitrarily, an AI artist used 5 different creators as their, as part of the learning model. How are you going to know, how do you know that 4 out of 5 of them copyrighted them, but the one person didn't? It's like, it might become.
But legally, if 4 of them were copyrighted and 1 wasn't, it doesn't mean you didn't screw up. You didn't break a copyright. So that's the bigger thing actually, and the thing that kind of even bothers me more about AI is that it's literally it's going back to what we were just talking about before. Oh, we're just going to remake this thing, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so all you're doing is pulling all the stuff that was already done, scrambling it up, and then sending it back out. It's another pile of shit that you're sending me. It looks visually beautiful. I'm not saying it doesn't, but it's just rehashed stuff. You know?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, so in my day job, I'm software engineer. So I'm talking about it, and not a day goes by where I don't hear about AI and I want to just burn all the servers down. But the one argument I've always made that always catches coders out of the blue is I feel that AI art and creative stuff is going to devalue the creative stuff, because if you can just push a few buttons and spit out a work of art, why have people do it by hand, the traditional way? It's the same as desktop publishing or stuff like that, where once it becomes easier to do, it's not worth as much. So there's going to be less incentive for people to create art or make art in the traditional sense, but also the few people that still do art in any other format, they're not going to be valued as highly, because why do I care about what you do when I can just have, whatever Mid-Journey spit it out,
Yeah. See, I kind of have mixed feelings in this. So as an artist, I don't like AI art that has been created and taken from other people's artwork. Now, with that said, right now there are artists suing AI companies. There hasn't been anyone who's won yet. And with the strike going on, we don't know who's gonna, what side's gonna come out the victor. But until we know through the strike outcome or through a lawsuit that has been won by the artist, we have no way to determine what, how AI can be used. Okay. There is I think AI is a technology that is here to stay. I think we're going to have to learn how to work with it. But I think there needs to be laws put in place to regulate what kind of work could be done with it. But then it was about a month ago, there was that team that put out the AI South Park. They kind of fed in all this information. And was it a crappy cartoon? Absolutely. The cartoons were not good. But if we were able to create some kind of AI bot for ourselves, something that did what they did, and I was able to put in my art style, my coloring palettes that I use, the way I, just give it my information and say, okay, I'm going to do a 24-page comic book. I want you to panel out 24 pages based on this script and put the lettering in. Boom. I just got rid of a couple hours of work for me. I can then go in, pencil and ink it, ask it to flat it for me, and then I can go in and add in the highlights and color, and shadows, and be like, okay, well, now I have a device that is working for me within my style, and it's only specific to me. And I think I would be okay with AI in that form because it's working for me. And if a company out there like Disney or Warner Brothers had the same type of thing to work with their artists to help speed up their processes, to do things like that for them, to cut out hours of work, I think that would be an efficient use of AI.
I am all about automating the rote stuff that allows one to be more creative, right? I'm thumbs up on that, because there's so many things in our day-to-day that could just, hey, push a button, take care of this. Awesome. You know what I mean? Great. But the truly creative stuff, first of all, I'm skeptical that you're ever going to get anything truly creative until AI evolves to the point where it has a consciousness, right?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
And so really what it is it's just a rip off of all the other things that have been done before. But yes, I love the idea of automation of rote things, thereby giving us more time and creative energy to do those things we actually want to do. Because in that utopian society, right, we're not cleaning up after the dog, I'm not making my bed, I don't have to rake the leaves, I have to drive myself to work, any of that sort of stuff, right? I actually have the ability to head down, get the things done I want to do. But of course, the skeptic in me just assumes that it's going to work so horribly differently than the way we'd like it to work, right?
That's the whole thing. It's like when an individual creator is using it as a tool to save themselves time or automate their flow, that's what's cool. But we've all seen what it really means is so that companies can just slash their workforces or do things cheaper. And we all know, and the problem with mass production is that you're willing to sacrifice quality for a quick buck. And I've had this argument with a lot of people, and some of the pushback I've gotten, well, you should not want to work for them. But honestly, if every company's doing that, where are you going to work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I cynically speaking too, I'm like, at what point are they going to realize that if you automate everyone out of a job, no one's going to buy your product because no one will have money? It works on Star Trek. If we AI, what like think about like the holodeck on the replicator. Yeah, it works there because you don't have to cook food for a living. You can push a button and have something replicate because you're flying a starship, Yeah. But like if you've got to like draw 8 pages of comics to pay for your rent, and some companies like, well, we don't need to hire you anymore. We can feed something into like an AI model and replace you. Well, then what the fuck?
That's the number one thing with capitalism, isn't it? This if I can get labor cheap or free, I will do it every single time.
Well,
right?
It's like what you say. I can do fast, cheap, or good.
Yeah, they're going to sacrifice good every time for fast and cheap.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. But I mean, obviously, this is not something we could, figure out tonight, or is there a true answer? I just, from my point of view, I see it going to be brought into companies in some way, but I don't think until we have some kind of precedent set, whether it's through a lawsuit or through the strike, to really know how AI is going to not infect, or maybe that's the right word.
Already infecting it now.
Yeah,
that's well. Let's face it. It's going to move quicker than the ability to regulate, because that's always what happens with these things. And it's going to be backed into regulation that will. I mean, at that point, the cage door is open, the canary's gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's, to me, I view it like kind of like what crypto and NFT were. Like they were fads, and then once the dust settles, once people have made a quick buck, we're going to start using it for real. Like I always said this with crypto. Yeah, whatever fast money making thing happened, once you get down to it, the technology is interesting, and the people who can use it are going to use it. It's going to be the same with AI. Once people stop having to make a fast buck with it, then we're going to get then artists, it's going to be integrated into art tools. Like I think Adobe already did something that seems pretty cool. As a coder, like what GitHub's doing is kind of interesting, where like it's like, the whole Copilot feature where it's not replacing me. It's a tool that I can use to make my job better. I do feel like there is going to be a balancing act over time, especially once the next fad comes in. So
yeah. It's funny because I haven't spoken to a coder, like any like IT or coding, about this topic. I'm always talking with artists and more create. Not that you're not creative because you do your stuff, but you know what I mean. Like IT is usually very much not the creative in the sense of the art. What?
I said ones and zeros.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, it's very like kind of analytical type of stuff. When you think of IT, you don't think of the art, art side. So it's very interesting to hear it from a coder.
Well, it's funny to me, like a lot of the coders I've worked with are either musicians or artists, in some capacity too, which is, there is an overlap in the arts and science in that regard. But it is definitely, speaking to engineers, you are going to get a wider range of opinions on it. There are some of us, we're scared that it's going to take our jobs too.
Yeah.
But then there's others that are like, hey, this is going to give me some interesting opportunities. There's companies out there that are actively trying to figure out how they can integrate it into their process, and in many cases are not doing it to try to replace people, but to make their offerings better. But the vibe I'm getting is like, it is a bit of a buzz because like everyone's like, how can we say we're using AI when we're probably not, there's that too. So it's like NFTs again. It's like, okay, once AI dies down, then we're going to see the real applications.
Yeah. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. All right. I don't know. I think we kind of sidetracked a bit from the stuff, but no, it was a very interesting conversation. I really enjoyed the topic, but we should probably start wrapping up right now. I think I could do another good hour with you guys if I really wanted to, because I'm enjoying chatting with you.
We're not short in opinions, that's for sure.
We have a lot of them. Most of them.
Yeah, no, totally. But I want to just let the audience to remember, we suck at comics. Color outside the lines. Submissions are currently open for Wayward Raven Media. You have till November 17th or sooner. Once they fill up, they fill up. Completed projects are what you're looking for. Go check out what the submissions are and what the guidelines are, and make sure that your submission fits what they're looking for. Because listen, I've seen their books up close and personal. They put out great quality books. I can't do both at the same time. But
that's what she said. No.
But yeah, no. You guys, all your books. When I saw you at Contropolis and I got to feel and hold the books and stuff, I saw the quality. I felt it. I know what you guys put out. You guys are you may be an independent company, but you guys do top-notch work, and I'm very, very thrilled that I can help get your word out.
Send us stuff. Send it in.
Give us your stuffs.
All of it. All of the stuffs.
All right. Well, I think I might actually have a submission, like I said. I'll have to look around for it. But in the meantime, guys, I'm going to drop you backstage. If you mind hanging out, I'll do my wrap up.
Cool. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys for coming on. Had a lot of fun. All right, guys. Well, that's the end of tonight's show. Really fun time. I always enjoy chatting with these guys. Excuse me. Mark and Alex are, go when you see them at cons, stop by the table. They're really fun to chat with. They put out a good product. But more importantly, if you guys are just starting out and you have something ready to go, you've never been published, or you just have stuff and you've been published and whatever, just submit to We Suck at Comics Volume 2. The links are in the comment section here. waywardraven.com. You can find everything you need there. You won't be sorry to be part of it. They're really great guys, and they, like I said, put out a good product, and they're here to help the independent comic community, which is what my show is about and what I love to do when I can. So you guys, with that, I will see you next week. Have a great rest of your day, and talk to you soon. Bye, guys.